Oh, really?
Yeah, it's already started.
I'm sit I'm sitting there with Auto on autopilot.
How's it going, everybody? Welcome to the Ham Radio Crash Course. We're going to be talking today about the ID-52, the new ICOM radio that just came out. And Ray Novak was nice enough to hop on the show with us today. So get started, enjoy the memes as we kick things off. And how's it going, everybody? Thanks for clicking on the Ham Radio Crash Course. I know it was just a few hours since I was last live, but we had a good opportunity to have Ray come out, made himself available on this holiday weekend, and I do appreciate that. So why don't we jump right over and say hi to Ray? I'm going to go ahead and stop that alert box for right now. Hey, Ray, how are you doing?
Oh, doing pretty good. I was enjoying the memes there.
Oh, yeah, that's people love the memes. Mentioning the memes, if anybody wants to see the memes in long form, like all of them, join our Discord. The link is in the description, and go to Ham Memes. We got a whole chat room just full of memes, and a lot of people create them on the fly. It's pretty cool stuff. So, Ray, you've had a big week. The ID-52 kind of made landfall last week here in the United States. And so how's it going? How's the release gone so far?
We can't keep up with the demand on them, and as soon as they roll off the production line, they're being put on an airplane, flown over here, so we can deliver to the dealers.
Right. I know that HRO, they were talking to me, and they had a few, and they quickly sold out of them. So it's been a really interesting radio. It looks good on pictures. So all my Instagrams for it have kind of, gotten lots of likes and lots of comments. But for today, we thought we'd have Ray come out, sit down with us, and we'll go ahead and kind of go through some of the features and talk about the stuff I like. I've got it set up right here on the overhead screen, and you can see that right there, that screen. I do have the waterfall turned on. And yeah, I've got manual focus adjustment now, you guys, so you can... There you go in the comments. So make sure you at Ham Radio Crash Course as we're going along if you have any specific questions, and we'll be testing out some things and kind of just poking around some. I have my phone sitting next to it because the phone applications work pretty well. So we're going to be talking about two of them and what you can potentially do with it. So, Ray, anything you want to mention before we get started here?
This is mainly going to be about you and what you've learned with yours, because mine arrived on Thursday, and doing Christmas here, just have not had time to play with it. In fact, while we were talking here, I loaded up my memory channels from the prototype that I had. So I've got two of them, one that does transmit, one that does not. So
Oh, yeah, the prototype's probably very interesting. So to kick things off, I want to bring up the website really quick. So links are in the description for the website. This is the ICOM site. If you want to download the manual, maybe you're thinking about buying it, you don't own it yet, always go download the manual and read through it, because there's actually a lot of stuff that this does. And in an hour, we definitely won't be able to hit it all. So make sure you go check out the manual. Also, very, very big note here. D-Star info, okay? It wasn't until I got my 705 and started playing around with it that I realized the importance of having a good repeater list on the radio, which we're going to demonstrate for you. It kind of took me a second to understand what the radio does, and the 705 does this too. So if you have a 705, you kind of already know about the DR mode. Having a good repeater list loaded is really important. And Ray, you can tell me where to go here, but I think if I go to repeaters and maps, and then if you go to maps by region, right?
Go to downloads.
Oh, that's it. Downloads, and the repeater list downloads for DR modes, right? Or any, you can download either. But if you go to that...
The one thing about the DR mode, and a lot of people think, oh, well, that's for D-Star. We introduced FM repeaters on the DR list with the +2 series of the ID-51, as well as on the ID-31a plus. And John Davis and Ed Woodrick from the Georgia, it used to be Georgia D-Star group, but they like playing with just about anything digital. So they've played with some of the other VHF and UHF digital modes out there, but they keep coming back to D-Star. They created this download database so you could put in whatever radio that D-Star radio that you have, even the TH 74D,
Mm-hmm.
and download the memory channels into the DR mode. And the real cool thing about it, whether it's analog or digital D-Star, it will tell you what repeaters are nearest to you based on the GPS.
Right.
And Good Game K5ATA did a video about using the scan function, which I think, John, you learned about either with your 705 or during a discussion about the 52 coming.
Right.
That allows you to be able to, as you're traveling, scan the local repeaters.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So if you're on the site here, you can pick ID-52a is there, and you can leave empty repeater slots. You just leave that as 0. And then the %FM, that's where you can actually still have the analog repeaters show up in that repeater list. This is going to vary for a lot of people, the size of the list that they're going to get, depending on, where they're located and all that stuff. Because you can sort this by region, you can narrow it down, or you can kind of plot a trip that you may be going on. But I bring this up because you should do that. Like right now, if you're thinking about getting a 52 or you just got one, make sure you got an updated list. Now, it does come with a repeater list that you can that comes in the box, but you're going to want to tailor that a bit. So that's kind of why I mention it up front. So let me slide over here so I'm right in front of the radio. So you see this as kind of how I leave it. I leave the band scope on. There's a couple of buttons you need to familiarize yourself with. They're all very important, but particularly if you're starting out. I'm going to go ahead and get out of the band scope to show you what it looks like when you just get it, out of the box. If you click Quick, under Quick, there's a lot of different options there, but this D-pad will allow you to select what you have, what's currently in focus, which this little orange box denotes the waterfall is selected. If I hit Quick, I can then turn the scope off. And now that I'm on just the VFO screen, if I hit Quick again, that's where you can bring up band select, your duplex, your tone. So these are all things if you were going to manually program a repeater in, for instance, right? So everybody's coming from a kind of a traditional operation or mode of operation, you might pull this window up. Scrolling down the quick menu, you have things like your GPS info, weather alerts, standard stuff that you might want to turn off or on. It's got an FM radio. You can log your GPS as you're going along, and that may be more important when you get to, what is it, DPRS, right? Ray, is that DPRS?
Yes.
Okay. So band scope is under quick if you're on VFO, and you can set up for a single sweep or continuous, but I'll leave it off for now. Because the big thing you want to hit, now that we've used our little dongle here to load a repeater list, I'm going to go into that DR mode. And you can do this right out of the box, and you should. Look for the...
Josh?
Yeah.
Hold on one second.
Mm-hmm.
Push and hold the main button so you get the screen that everybody will
there you go.
see when they turn it on.
So there's your dual watch, your dual channel VFO for 70 centimeter and 2 meters. So if you hold down DR, this is like, you would call this your traditional radio control, right? But if you hold down DR, now you've entered into the digital / what would you call that, Ray? What's the actual acronym for DR?
I think it originally started out as digital repeaters.
Yeah. But don't let that confuse you, because again, we're going to be looking at analog repeaters here too. So with the satellite icon there, that implies that we have GPS lock. And with this from box selected, which again, using this control, we can go around and select different things, right? So I'm going to hit from, and that brings up basically the list that we loaded. So with the GPS enabled, I can click near repeater, and there I can do just analog repeaters, digital repeaters for D-Star, or all of them at one time. So let's do all just so you can kind of see what comes up. And so, yeah, this is giving me a direct reference to all the local repeaters in my area.
It tells you how far away they are as well.
Exactly. So in this case, I know that these two, the Cypress and Malibu, while they're very close, these are just repeaters at somebody's house. So it's not as good, for instance, as the Fullerton Raytheon campus, which is right down the street from me as well. Or if you scroll down even further, where is it? Anaheim Disneyland. And where's the other one? There you go. Santiago is actually a really tall summit from here. And so if I click on Santiago, I now have the repeater set up, or almost to the point where I can start making a contact if I wanted to do that. I'm not going to use a reflector because that's no, I have CQ set up. We're going to go local CQ. So D-Star has a little bit of battery of arms to it for those of you that are coming to it new. So you've selected a repeater based off of, where you're at, using that list and your GPS. Now that you're here, if I do CQ under, again, I'm pushing that jewel in the middle. If I push that jewel and I get local CQ, I now am potentially connecting to the repeater, and there we go. So I did kerchunk that repeater, but
now one thing about it, go ahead and push the CD. Push and hold it. Sorry. So that's going to show you your call log. So when it's come back to you, the different people that you've talked to.
Yep.
All right. Go ahead and exit out of that. And then push up the RX. Wait a minute. They have moved that one thing. So let's double check and see. Or let me check on mine.
Yeah. So keep in mind too, Ray also got his like this week. So we're all having fun with it kind of for the first time. This is our Christmas present item that we've been playing around with for the last week. Remember, in the chat, if anybody does an @Ham Radio Crash Course, I'll see the message and then I can reply to it if you have a question for myself or Ray. So that local, let's go back here now. So let's do that list again. While Ray looks that up, I'm going to go back to the from line using the D-pad and push the jewel. I'm going to go near repeater, and let's just pull up an FM repeater now. Okay, and so now you can see the list got smaller, but we still have that Fullerton Raytheon, so we'll see if we can hit that really fast. And there we go. We got the Roger. Where is it? There you go. Okay, so notice then, too, is that 2 line is now not accessible because you're outside of D-Star. But you're still in the DR mode. And remember, that's kind of the way to look at this now, is that you're leveraging the capability of the GPS and your list of repeaters that you've added to give you access to both D-Star and FM repeaters. Were you going to say something, Ray?
No, the squelch broke on the local repeater here.
Okay.
One of the other things, though, and I will throw in, as you're scrolling down through those, Josh, can you bring up your DR mode again? Or your call signs, I'm sorry. Your repeater list?
Oh, yeah, from the search?
Yeah.
Okay.
As you scroll down, you'll see a letter all the way to the right on all of these repeaters. That's talking about what module. But if you'll bring up the list that has analog mixed in with it.
Okay. So let me go back. Okay.
So now as you're going, it will say FM, but also if you look at the call sign that's in the bottom with the distance, that'll indicate also whether it's D-Star or analog just by the call sign that you're looking at.
So is the lack of having that module
port
there?
Right.
So that's
on FM, it's not going to have a module designator on whether it's port A, B, or C.
Yeah. Okay, perfect. We've got a super chat from Off Grid Pete. He says, picked mine up from HRO last week and really impressed. In addition to waterfall and scan features, the mic and speaker are fantastic. There's a couple of comments, too, that were calling me. Hope all is well with you and yours truly, Josh. Just wanted to reiterate my appreciation of the channel in regards to recent conversations. Stay classy. Hey, thank you very much. I appreciate that, Bert. And yeah, I did reply to your comment there, so I appreciate you leaving your thoughts. Ham Radio 2.0, same way to pull repeaters into the 705. Yes, the DR mode is the same thing. So if you're familiar with the 705, it's going to work the same.
Or the ID-51 series, the 31 series, the 4100, the 5100. This is a real neat way of handling the repeaters, and makes traveling a snap, because if you were to hit the scan function on it, it will start scanning through all of the local repeaters.
Yeah, let me do that now. So I've selected, the repeater that's supposed to be down the street. If I hold down scan, now it'll allow me to scan through my entire list of repeaters that are near to me, again using GPS, or DV only, so all your D-star repeaters, or FM only. So let's do all and see what we get. And it'll scan away there.
And as you're driving out of the area of one and into another, it will add and remove repeaters out of the scan list. So
Mhm.
it's pretty dynamic on how it handles that.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. I left it in scan mode when I was driving around, and it did. I could see, although this is very fast, how fast this is scanning. I did note that there was some repeaters that they added in. Okay, so I clicked it, and that's why it went away. But you can turn off that delay, by the way, the dimming. You can turn that off if you want to. There was a question in the chat, Ray, that you may know. I haven't done a full experiment on it yet. How long's the battery last?
It depends on which battery, and you and I
Oh,
were
good
talking
point.
about it earlier. The ones in the US are coming with the 1850s. You've got the optional BC or BP 307. Man, I can't remember what the capacity of that is, and I don't have my 705 handy. Uh,
I
and
do.
then some of them are coming with the small battery pack, which is the 1150.
So this is
But
the 272. It's an 1880 on my
yeah,
705.
I have not had it on long enough to try to run it down. So I don't know exactly how long you'll get out of the battery. There again, it's going to depend on how much you transmit. You transmit high power, you're looking at 2 amps of current being pulled out of the battery.
Mm-hmm.
If you're using it with a hotspot or a DVAP or any of the RF devices, run it on super low power, which is 1/10 of a watt, and the battery will last even longer then.
Yeah. So keep in mind too that 705 batteries they work the same. I have the BP307, which is the 3150 milliamp hour battery, which is a big boy. And I plugged it into this radio, and it went right off with it, so it had no problem doing that. Well, so I could keep showing you the scan, but I think you get the idea. So the advantage of that is, I mean, for most of you, particularly, if you're a repeater guy, or you're traveling through an area, or you have different repeaters you talk on coming and going from work, this is pretty much the way you'd use it. You'd kind of just pop it into DR mode and let the near repeaters sort you out. But there's a lot more here. So I'm going to get out of DR for a second. So I'm back at the dual band mode, and I'm going to bring back up that waterfall. I wanted to show you a couple of things with that, the band scope. So again, quick button, and then I'm going to go into quick, and I'm going to do a continuous scan. So I'm going to get out of dual. Wait, there we go.
Push and hold.
There you go. So now we're seeing the waterfall that's been mentioned a lot. And you can see I'm pretty noisy in my QTH, particularly on 2 meters. And this is an outside antenna that's connected. So if you are like me, who a lot of you people that watch my channel know, I hunt RF sources a lot. And I've started using this little loop antenna. I'll put it on this guy. And as I start getting in close, right, as some of you have probably noticed, when you start getting a little bit closer to the sources of RF, it becomes harder to pinpoint them because this is bidirectional, right? It's a bidirectional loop for direction finding. So what you can do, which is kind of cool, I was experimenting with this when I first got it. You click on the quick, and you scroll up to the top here. Wait, oh no, I gotta remember the waterfall selected. I gotta click up. So now the VFO is selected. Hit quick. And there is a attenuator here. Where did it go? Did I miss it? We just had the attenuator. Where did it go?
I think you got to turn the scope off.
No, I think you can. There it is. So I was on the wrong subchannel. So let's do attenuator on, and I will change Let's go back to this guy. The attenuator's on. I have very low noise on 70 centimeters, so I'm going to change band back up to 2 meters. And let me make sure I got that attenuator on. There you go. So it actually does have an attenuator, which will help you out a little bit as you go to find RFI sources. So that's kind of cool too. And again, this is I have a pretty bad environment in my area. Let's see what else.
So Josh, what you just told me, and I'm confirming on mine, is if you're on VFOB, you do not have attenuation available on VFOB. It's only on VFOA.
Yep, I think that's true. So
and
yeah,
I haven't opened the manual, so I'm just confirming what you just saw on yours.
Yeah, so they're on the B channel right now, and you've got your duplex tone, your DTMF voice, most of the same things. You still have the band scope if you're on the B as well. And if you switch, so now we're on the A, you can see it. I use the dual button, which you can't see, main dual right there. Now you get a couple more options. Like the attenuator. Greg Schultz says the BP307 is 3150 milliamps. Right. Yeah, so that's a big battery. You don't necessarily need that, but
go down one click there to DTMF transmit.
Okay.
A lot of people comment about the 51 series, the 31 series, because it did not have a DTMF keypad, that you can't do DTMF. And all you have to do is scroll through after you hit direct input and use the tuning knob to do whatever characters that you want for your DTMF.
There you go. I know there's a lot of people that care about that. I seldom use that, but yes, that is important.
And it just made my monitors go nuts. And now my computer thinks that it's trying to connect to a wireless monitor.
I see you fine, so you're good. Your cameras are working. Larry West, thank you for the super chat. I appreciate it. Okay, so let's go ahead and turn that waterfall off here for a little while, and we'll go back to the standard view. By the way, we're in single band mode. I'm on one channel at a time, but if I go back to that dual, you still have the waterfall, but you'll see it's kind of much smaller, and it spaces it between the two. And if you click dual, then it'll move down if you turn it on there. But let me go back and go ahead and turn that off. Scope off. Oh, you know what? While we're here, let's go into scope mode. People like to know that. You have center, fix, and scroll is the capability. And when we go into the menu right now, you'll see that there's some more options. So quick.
That's cool that they went ahead and added that feature from the 705. A lot of people were complaining about, well, when you scroll off of the edge of the frequency range, that the band scope wouldn't keep up with you. So that's what that scroll does for you.
And that is very nice, because that was the upgrade that went on the 705 and the 7300 along with the other radios, right?
Yeah, and it's interesting because the ID-52 that I had for almost 8 months did not have this feature. This feature was added since they had released the product in Japan and developed it and added it to it right before they released it outside of Japan.
Oh, very cool.
So it's pretty cool to know that the design had enough processor speed to be able to do the waterfall.
Right on. So just going around the outside, and we didn't show the sides of this at all, but PTT, you have your squelch control, you have your power button, your micro SD card is right there, and it does take micro SD, right? That's kind of a big part of it. There is a mic and speaker jack, a USB port, and a DC in, and I'm assuming the USB port is for firmware upgrades and whatnot, right, Ray?
It is available for charging as well as radio control. Firmware updates, I believe, are off the SD card.
Oh, okay. I did see that there are apps that you can run and you can have USB control. So that's an interesting one. So then you could use that for cat control. Oh, cool.
Right.
Interesting. There is a question in the chat. Adam Weber asks, is the software in the radio similar to other ICOM radios? It's similar to other handhelds, that's for sure. Other ICOM handhelds, I mean. Wouldn't you say, Ray?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So menu, mode and scan, main and dual. A lot of these have single press and long press to them. VFO and clear, and then if you hold this down, it goes to the calling frequency, for instance. That's your memories. Go ahead. Were you going to say something?
It will be interesting to see if people start playing around with the CI5 prototype.
Yeah, what's that going to offer?
Not really. Well, rig control.
I gotcha.
You were mentioning earlier about the RSMS-3A, and that is the rig control for the D-Star radios.
There was a question in the chat. Is it USB-C or micro USB? It looks like it's micro.
Yeah, it's micro.
Okay.
When you take a look at some of the newer technology like the USB-C, you're looking at a little bit more real estate inside the radio. And the goal was to keep it as small as possible.
Mm-hmm.
So I know a lot of people were moaning and groaning with the 705. Why didn't it have an HDMI output? Why didn't it have a USB-C? I mean, you take a look at getting engineering-minded people involved in it, it will continue to have engineering creep, and you never do release a product.
Yeah. Note on mode, the mode button allows you to go from FM to FM narrow to DV. You can see it changing in the upper left there. There's a question in the chat. Can you use this on FT8? No, because it doesn't do single sideband. You can use other digital modes, though, and the fact that you have USB would technically allow you to do portable packet radio, now that I think about it.
Now, when you oh, well, wait a minute. We take a step back and look at, you say no on FT8, but JT65 was developed for 2-meter use.
Right, but for single sideband, for satellites or moon bounce, that kind of thing.
Yeah, but aren't they using Olivier on FM?
I don't know. It's possible. I guess, let me put it this way. If you have a USB port and you can control this via the USB, then you can try it. But I don't know that would be on the first list of things I would do with cat control. I would probably try and do packet.
Yeah, I don't think there's an internal sound card to use that. I do know that there is a data port, and you know what? That's going to be on the USB port now that I'm looking at mine.
Right.
It does have direct data into the D-Star stream, so running DRATs and things like that. And Josh, that's something that you should really take a look at and play around with.
I did a live stream. Oh boy, now I'm drawing a blank. You recommended somebody to me, and we did a video on it. In fact, I'll show you a size comparison. I've got the ID-31 here, the baby icon, and we were doing it on this radio. And so I'm definitely
with John Davis.
Yes, John Davis. Yes, thank you. I plan on, that's the next thing I'm going to do, is get DRATs running on this, because that was a lot of fun. That was really, really cool. So I'm expect more on that. And everybody, DRATs is like a well, go watch my live stream. How about that? I'll link it in the description. Okay, so that's kind of around the outside. Let's go to the menu. So you can see you've got, these visual squares, which is very reminiscent of the 705. This will do recording, transmit, single transmit, repeat transmit, which is actually kind of interesting. So you can transmit a recording with this. I didn't realize that.
It should also, in D-Star mode, have an auto reply. So if you're away from your radio, you can leave a message that if certain call signs call directly to you,
wow,
your radio will respond back to them and let them know that you're busy or whatever message you have set up.
Mm-hmm. I like that. I don't know exactly how I would use that, but I feel like that's something you could go to a ham fest and you could have a little fun with that. You could have a pre-recorded message. The Josh you're looking for is at another booth. That could be fun if somebody called you, was looking for your call sign. There was a question in the chat from M7INT, the gaming ham, and actually he's asked this in a couple of ways. Disneyland has repeaters here in Anaheim, But it's true, ham radios are prohibited in the park, except if you know this one weird hack. You say, this is an FRS radio.
Oh,
I, okay, I'm only half joking because they have definitely stopped me with HTs and said, "What is that?" And I said, "Oh, it's a family radio. I don't know. This other dad has one. He handed it to me." And they're like, "Oh, okay, go ahead. You can go in." I just play dumb, but that seemed to work just fine when I was going to Disneyland often with my family. But anyway, don't.
volunteer the minimum amount of information possible to
That's right.
get you into trouble.
That's right. So that is not legal advice on how to handle Disneyland because you'll end up in Disney prison and you don't want to go there. Okay, so there's record capability for obviously doing QSOs. There's just a voice recorder, and there's your DV auto reply that you mentioned, Ray. So right there.
There you go.
Cool. There is an FM radio, so you can do that, and the FM radio can be set to both. I'm not going to play it just because I don't want a bunch of copyright songs on my channel, but you can turn it on, and then you can have the FM radio down below, so you can still monitor your A and B channel, and it can be playing in the background. Scope, we've talked about that. There's your scope. That just turns it on. If you want to turn it off, quick, off. CD, this is your receive history, right? I don't have any messages to comment on that one. Okay, so this is where I think you get into your gateway stuff. This is if you're going to run this as like a local D-Star gateway or an access point, right?
Terminal mode is where the radio is connected to the internet and it ends up working like a speaker microphone through the D-Star network. For those that use reflectors like REF 030 Charlie, reflector 30 Charlie, it will not work with it. The D Plus software is a third-party software, and they have not incorporated this functionality to it. The guys that write the IRC DDB reflectors, so the XRF, XLX, and I think there's a couple more, they have embraced this technology. So you can use their reflectors if the local repeater that you're using to connect to has that capability enabled. So there's several layers of control on whether or not the repeater owners or the gateway operators want to have access to this other than to other ICOM gateway software repeaters.
Right. Okay. And help me out then. So access point mode versus terminal mode.
Terminal mode, it's like the speaker microphone into the D-Star world.
Got it.
And access point mode is where it's just that, an access point. So you can put it on an external antenna and use another D-Star radio and connect over RF to that node.
Oh, cool. Okay. That could be really useful. All right, let's go down to settings. Yeah, go ahead.
In taking a look at a recent live stream that one of our competitors was talking about, they were talking about having to buy a supplemental box, wire it all together, so then you could get into their network. Ours is all done by software.
Right. So you can, does that mean?
So it's natively in the radio itself.
Yeah, and I'll have a video in the future on this, but there's apparently some Android applications that will allow you to leverage some of this stuff, right? I think.
There's both Android as well as iOS.
Yeah, so look forward to that in the future. It's probably a little bit outside an hour-long kind of quick view, but we will continue. So under settings, that's where you get more of your traditional, I'll start at the top here, more of your traditional settings for radio, scope control, your call sign. You do need to go throw this in there, so I did add mine to it.
You know what, Josh, come out of that for a second and go into DR mode. Okay, go to a D-Star repeater, sir.
Okay.
All right. Now go back to your call sign fields.
This one might not be
have
connected.
moved that because that at one time was in the directional pad. So the way that you've got that set up right now, it will only repeat out on module C of that repeater. So that's your local repeater. It will not go to the gateway. R2 says not used.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the secondary repeater call sign. If you're using things like DPRS
Mm-hmm.
or using the reflectors and you're having problems, you're not going over the reflector, you need to check this area, because some people will get confused local CQ with the reflector CQ. And if you'll pop out of there and use the reflector.
Oh, okay.
Okay. And then go to that menu setting.
Ah, look at that.
So seeing in R2, that same repeater, you're saying you're going in on R1, you're going in on module C, you're going out over the gateway.
Got it.
Now, the cool thing about D-Star, if R2 was to say N6CYP port B,
Mm-hmm.
you then would be crossband repeating. You'd be going in on VHF and broadcasting both on VHF as well as UHF.
Mm-hmm.
Or if you had an port A in RPT2, it would be going out on 1.2 gig.
Right. Okay. That's helpful to know.
So anybody out there that's running D-Star and they're like, I can't go through the gateway, something's happening, this is where you take a look and make sure that the radio configuration is proper. Because if it's not selected to G, and you've got things like your GPS transmit turned on,
Mm-hmm.
you won't be able to see on APRS FI your location.
Oh, okay. Very good. So that's also, so that gateway is kind of what's getting your DPRS packets out, which ultimately will end up as APRS packets and get
That is
swallowed up into
correct.
that network. So you're not really losing APRS functionality, but you have to go through D-Star to kind of get there, is my understanding.
You do lose some of it. You don't get to see the people that are around you that are beaconing on APRS.
Oh,
But
okay.
if you're with a group of people, like you're doing search and rescue and you're using the D-Star, you'll be able to see everybody in your area when they transmit. You'll be able to use the CD function and see everybody that is transmitted around you.
Mm-hmm.
You'll see what direction they are from you, as well as the distance they are from you.
Okay. Very good. Super chat came in from Philippe Lewis, says, appreciate your channel. Thanks for doing this review. ICOM have amazing radios. Big fan. Well, thank you, Philippe. Appreciate that.
Thank you.
Yeah. So under DV set, I think we've kind of, there's more that you can get into here. Is there anything you want to mention on this? Because all of this is probably something you should deep dive the manual for those of you that are
deep
picking
dive
this
the
up.
manual. But there again, the one, go back in real quick, and in page 1 of 2, go up a little bit more. You got tone control at the very top. You can make adjustments for both the receive as well as your transmit audio.
Oh, okay.
And depending on what radio that somebody else is using, you might need to make some adjustments to your transmitted audio.
Okay. Okay. All right. So let's go back out of here. We'll go to, there you go. Speech is if you have the actual, if you enable the speech down here, right? So this is going to be how.
No. If you've got it turned on,
Mm-hmm.
and let me, right there. Go ahead and go back in there. You know how annoying it is, somebody just kerchunks the repeater.
Yeah.
Well, in D-Star, everybody's supposed to have their call sign programmed in the radio. You can figure out who's kerchunking the repeater.
Ah, all right.
And they can even say, yeah, it's that Nass guy. He's doing a live stream and demoing another D-Star radio.
Right. But this menu overall is to set up the speech function too, right? This
Well,
menu
no,
page.
it'll automatically do it.
Okay. But
So
not
if you
set
go
up,
to
but
dial, if you
mm-hmm.
go to dial speech, and it's, go ahead and turn it on.
Okay.
Come on out, turn the dial.
Oh. Do I need to be in VFO?
I think so.
What if I go here? Okay, let's go out of that. Oh, do I have to?
147.39.
Yeah.
No, you don't have. You don't have to hit it. I got to double check to make sure how to set it up now.
Well, we did the set speech, dial speech on. I'll leave that off for right now. Well, you can go and add more. That's my local. This guy's a beacon on our local 2 meters.
Hey, Josh.
Yeah. Go ahead.
147.975
Oh, okay.
megahertz.
You just have to turn the knob and pause, and it will.
Okay. There you go.
147.355 megahertz.
I hope that guy comes back again so I can do an audio into the mic, into my good mic here, and give you a good audio sample. But sounds really good. The speaker's really loud. It's a really nice sounding radio. So let's keep going there. So I think, let's see. So we hit speech. DTMF, we've kind of already talked about that, but you can add memories if you want to. You can add speed or change the speed. This is your QSO log. Again, that's something that, as you take contacts or make contacts, that'll fill out, and you can. There you go. I didn't want to do that, actually. Turn that off. That's fine. Let's go back out. Okay, under function, that's where you can change things like your power save and your different auto repeater settings for duplex and tone. Remote mic key. By the way, as a side note, where is it? I need to mention this or else I'm going to forget. Hold on. This radio is fully integrated with the Bluetooth dongle. So the ICOM Bluetooth dongle works with this perfectly. So if you've got earbuds or whatever, all the accessories work across. So you can use this with your 705 and your you just have to change it's connected to at any time. But I've been able to work between them. Oh, I missed him again. Nope. There you go. That's my buddy, my local 2 meter buddy. Oh, and 2 meter simplex is what I mean by that.
Turn up your audio.
Oh, God, hold on. Should probably get off of simplex. All right, so there you got mic gain, internal and external if you're running 2 different mics or an external mic, right?
Yep. And one of the other things is not all external mics are created equal. So you might have to make some mic gain adjustments if somebody says you're too hot. And I was talking to our buddy Bob, K6UDA, earlier today, and he said that some people were telling him that he was talking too close to the microphone. So told him he needed to go in and make an adjustment to the mic gain there if he likes close talking to radio.
Oh, interesting. Okay, so if you're using the internal, you can go in there and adjust the mic gain as well, which for depending on how you talk into a radio or your voice type might be important. Ray, somebody asked a good. Go ahead. Sorry.
And that 1, 2, 3, and 4 is not the number of feet to hold it away from you.
Right. It's just a level of intensity of the gain or the gain setting. Okay. This is completely unrelated to this radio, but somebody asked an interesting question, and maybe you know. Bach. Oh boy, I'm sorry. I'll just leave your name at Bach for right now. He says, understood the ICOM R30 has been discontinued. Will we see a new gen wideband handheld receiver from ICOM in the future or anytime soon?
Not anytime soon. The R30 died an early death because of the lack of semiconductors.
Oh, no. So you're saying I'm going to have to go buy that one at HRO. I've been putting off buying that radio. I may have to go buy it.
Domestically, there's still some available. We'll have around 100 units come in next month. And when those are gone, they're gone.
It's a really unique radio. I did a review on that one as I kind of played around with it for a while. It's quite interesting. It's
Yep.
a really nice radio to have from a receiver point of view. So okay, continuing on. You have Vox settings, standard. Well, not standard, but stuff depending on how you use Vox. Okay, CIV. This is new for me because I haven't done this before on this radio. But there's your CIV address or CI5. Your baud rate. Oh, so this will take 19200. Interesting. Ooh, okay. I'm super into this now. Now I've got to. Oh wow. Okay, wait. Let's see. So this will do CI5 over Bluetooth. Ooh. Hello. Okay.
Yes.
All right. I'm getting D-Rats excited right now. USB. It'll do charge or just serial port, or you can set it into.
Now, I did notice a comment that went through on your messages there about operating with the USB port that is charge only. You can transmit. There's a warning in the manual about transmitting with it connected to the USB port. Would definitely recommend reviewing that in the manual and following what it says.
Yeah, indeed. Adam Weber in the chat says, your videos have helped teach me about ham radio. Hopefully I'll be able to get you on one of these D-Star repeaters. Well, thank you very much. And yeah, this is pretty cool. So somebody else asked a good question. What's a popular D-Star repeater example like the WINS system is used worldwide? What about D-Star? Well, I mean, that's kind of the point, right? So what's a D-Star example of worldwide D-Star usage?
Well, you've got two different reflectors that a lot of people like to use. 30 Charlie that we talked about earlier. And that originally started out as the reflector for John and Ed from the Georgia D-Star group. KJ4VO, Mark Holmes, ended up making that one a global reflector. So there's a lot of activity all over the world on that. And then also reflector 1 Charlie is known as the super reflector. And it is definitely, I mean, you can hear people from Scotland, England, Germany, UK, Australia, all over the world talking on 1 Charlie as well. So those two are your big reflectors. Again, the IRCDDB group has their own group of reflectors, and you can go look and see which ones are active and what uses they are off of the D-Star info page.
Okay. There you go. Yeah, D-Star info is really helpful for D-Star. Well, for D-Star info, look at that. No, it's a really useful page, so make sure you go there. And the link is in the description. Okay, moving along. So we got USB Connect. USB serial port function is where you got your echo back settings. This is screaming 705, 7300 type setup here. These are all the things that you do when you're playing around with this stuff.
And there's that battery pack select we were talking about earlier.
Yeah. So is this... Yeah, so there's your 307. You would need to set that. Now, that's not to say it won't run, but what does that setting do? Is it just accounting for the larger capacity?
Possibly. I'm not really sure. It might be for the charging on it. There again, I have not cracked open the manual, so it's probably covered in there.
Oh.
Or at least a little bit about it.
I like that. That's maybe it is the charging. So it tells the radio when to stop. For when it's charging. Okay, so what's heterodyne?
We will stop charging before ignition.
Yeah, there you go. So that's the reverse heterodyne if you need it. Oh, did I leave that reverse? Don't do that. Okay, battery pack. Confirm. We can leave that alone. Charging is on. USB input. Power input. On. Oh, so this is a fun one, too. Much like the 705, the 7610, some of the other radios, you can enable this feature is what I did. If you just quickly single press the power button here, it'll take a screenshot of your screen, which is kind of useful, particularly if you wanted to say, I don't know, have a record, an easy record of somebody being on a repeater or getting a contact with them or receiving a message. So you could, when we show it here, we're gonna get to it pretty quickly on doing like image transfers, and you know can do things with that too. You can change the type. Okay. Low cal key action, standard or ID-51 compatible. You know what that is, Ray? That's a new one to me.
Yes. You look at your directional pad to the right, it says LO.
Okay.
That, if you push and hold it, will allow you to select your power output.
Ah, okay.
And if you remember earlier, we were looking for the call sign.
Mm-hmm.
Well, on the 51, the LO position is your call sign. So it would bring up that call sign field that you just had to dig into a menu earlier for.
Okay, got it. That's helpful. Oh, yeah, that could be really helpful if you did a lot of jumping around between gateways and whatnot.
Yep.
Okay, so let me go back here. So there was something right here, picture. By the way, GPS, it'll log your GPS as well. We don't really need to go into that because I think it makes a little bit of sense. But picture. So I've oh yeah, by the way, that's the new logo that's going on the hats, guys. So this is an image I uploaded from my phone. And so I'll show you how to do that right now. Let's go ahead and back this up a bit. Since
you might want to go to the internal antenna as well.
Yeah, I'm gonna switch them. I'm gonna give the 705 the other antenna here shortly, but I want to pull up that app so you guys can see this. All right, so this is the ICOM ST4001I. So a very specific name there. And I have it on my phone. So I can go and let me pick a picture. So I'm going to hold this for 1 second, and it's going to ask me where do I want to pull from. I'll say camera roll. And I've got this picture that Ray sent me here. So I'm going to send this over to the phone. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm going to send this over to the 52. I believe I'm connected, but let's go ahead and do full size. Actually, I'm going to go middle because it can take a little while. So I did connect this to Bluetooth. I've had it connected, since the day I got it, but it does have Bluetooth enabled. And you can turn that off if you want to save batteries. Oh, I don't have it connected, I guess. Let's see.
And the reason we put that on there is both of us decided we like the dark screen instead of the defaulted light screen.
That's right. So let me go back here for a second. Make sure I'm on the Bluetooth. Okay.
And one of the reasons that it's pretty cool to have this type of app is you take a look at, there's been several devices out there that had built-in cameras for ham radio use. And you're dedicated to whatever resolution of the camera that is the least expensive to go in a device at that time.
Mm-hmm.
Where everybody likes to have the latest and greatest smartphone. Why not use the camera and the software to edit and all of that stuff that comes with your phone itself and then tether it?
I'm going to disconnect and reconnect. It didn't seem to...
Because by the time you look at the processor size, the memory size, and the radio and all the licensing to do what you're able to do in your phone, it'll make the radio too expensive.
Right. All right, let's do that again. We're going to go. I don't know, perhaps if I'm in the picture thing, if that's why it doesn't like it. It says it's not answering me. Well, I don't know what's the deal there, but I did load the image with the software, the app on the phone, to the radio. That's why I've got that capability. That's why I have that image already loaded. But let's do this. Let's connect my 705. So let me put the stock antenna back on, or A antenna, because I have the B and C connector on there. All right, so I'm going to set him up like that. Bring in my 705. Is there a particular frequency that you use for doing this? I don't remember what the right one is.
You're asking me?
Yeah. Do you remember?
Actually, I don't do any demonstrations on the air at all.
Yeah. So what's the
Because
best way
anytime
to
I'm
do
doing
this?
a demonstration on a particular radio, it gets frowned upon because, hey, don't you receive a paycheck for doing this kind of stuff?
Oh, yes.
So I have to be very careful with what I do, what I transmit, things like that.
What's the where's the power menu for setting the power output?
On which radio?
The 52. I
The
got it on
LO
this one.
button,
The
the
LO,
right
okay.
hand D-pad.
Okay, I'm gonna go super low. So let me show you that really fast here. There you go. You got super low, low 1, low 2, mid, and high. So we're gonna go super low because I'm literally right next to this radio. And where are we at? $355. Okay. Nope. Do you have to be in DR mode?
You do have to be in D-star mode. Hit your mode button.
Oh.
Data. Or no, I'm sorry, DV.
Yeah, okay. Uh-oh. Picture. There we go. That's another way of doing it, I guess. So I'm going to go right here. Give this a little...
There's a recommendation about 145/670 simplex D-star, but I wouldn't go there to transmit a image.
Okay, let's go ahead and do this.
And you are set for maximum glare there, Josh.
I know, I'm going to have to switch that in a second. Okay, hold on. I'm getting there.
Are you transmitting simplex with the handheld?
There we go. I'm transmitting now. Should be. Uh-oh. Why did the frequency change? Well, there it is, but let's see if it gets it. Probably too high. There we go. I'll retransmit it right now. I guess I bumped the... And sorry about the glare, everybody. There we go. Now that I got the proof of concept down, hold on, let me reshoot this. Okay, so I'm going to do that again. So the way you do that is I've got my image right there. I'm going to go quick. I'm going to picture transmit to single transmit. And then and by the way, again, I'm selected on the picture. So if I pushed up here, see it shrinks, and now I'm on the VFO. Go back down to picture. We're both in DV modes. Both radios need to be in DV mode. The picture's selected. I'm going to go transmit all, and it'll say, will transmit remaining blocks okay. And there you go. And it's going to fill in that picture for me so I get a good copy. With, 50 plus 50 over S9 signal, even in low 1 or super low. And stop transmitting in a second. You see that? Okay. And all done. So there you go. That was the highest quality image. So there you can see that. I can now set that to my background. I'm not on 2-meter simplex, no. Thank you, everybody. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, there's just a couple of things. I think that's anything else we missed there, Ray, that we should hit? We didn't.
Not that I can think of.
Okay, so then that means I'm gonna take off this BNC adapter. I'm gonna go back to that stock antenna. Okay. Because I think what Ray was telling me and what's on the website is you got an IP7 rated radio here, right?
Submersible, yes, sir.
So if we take make sure our doors are sealed, super sealed tight here, right? Double check.
Yes.
Here we go. All right. So I'll wrap things up because we just hit the top of the hour. Let me bring this in closer. You guys can see that? You can see my logo there. Okay, so I wanted to leave you guys with this anecdote. I was doing the podcast with my wife, and I wanted to bring up that I was playing around with the new radio, and I handed it to her. And normally she shies away from a lot of the radio stuff. I'll be honest, even though she's my wife and a technician and all that. She was totally on board with the 52. She took it and she was like, okay, well, so. I explained what DV mode is, analog versus the DV repeaters, and she just had a blast going through and looking at all the close-in nearby repeaters, and she just went through them all, was checking it out. It was super cool. She took to it like super, super fast. She loves it. She said it's her favorite ham radio she's got to play with, which is, I mean, she could play with all the ham radios that I have access to, and this is the first one that she saw. She said it looks great, and she said she's going to take it from me, so I may have to get another one for myself once she makes that acquisition of the radio. So, all right, Ray. So thanks for coming on. I know you kind of had to hustle through your dinner to make it on here with me, but do appreciate you making the time. Anything you want to mention before we wrap up?
You've covered a lot of it. I'm looking forward to your other videos that when you start playing around with it, like you did the 705, what all goes in the backpack and taking it with you to operate and do SOTA and POTA work.
Yeah, it should be a lot of fun. And I keep looking at the radio, sitting there in the water. Everything's good. Everybody's in the chat going, "Man, you're brave." It's got the rating, guys. It's gotta qualify that. You gotta test it, right?
No, the one thing that it does not have that our marine radios have it's called Aquaquake. And it's where it will send a tone through the speaker to blow the water out of the speaker itself.
Okay, so I will make sure that I let it dry off adequately before I start to listen too much on it, right? Otherwise, it'll be distorted, the speaker.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
Yeah. There was something else. No, I think we got everything covered. Hopefully, covered a lot of stuff. You guys can hit us up. Post comments below. I'll try to answer them. There's obviously a lot of stuff this radio does. I think the key thing, and I want to bring it up again, just to remind everybody, if you joined us late, definitely go to D-Star Info and download a list of the repeaters. And if we didn't mention it, that %FM, that's about how much % of the total list is going to be analog repeaters. So it's not just digital, it's not just D-Star, it's analog as well. So that's important to keep in mind.
Go back to that page real quick, Josh.
Yeah.
Okay. Scroll up to the top, and there should be a tab that says reflectors.
Okay. Yep. All right.
And that is the REF reflectors. I'm not sure if they do the XRF or XLX.
Oh, okay.
But you can find those on the IRCDDB I think it's .org.
Would you want me to pull something else up or just?
If you go to dstarusers.org.
There you go.
So this is the last heard page, and it will show you all the different users that are out there. It'll say what they're using.
Okay. Excellent. All right. Well, I'll make sure to link everybody to that. Make sure you go check out the link in the description. I've got to wrap because we got to go watch Jason Ham Radio 2.0's video. I forgot he's going live right now. Jason, 1,000 apologies. So I'm going to wrap up. Ray, hang on the line, and I'll talk to you all later. Thanks so much for watching. I'll give you a big 73s, and give us a thumbs up and post your comments. Thanks, Ray.
All right. Thank you, everybody. 73.
Thanks.